Mark, the problem I have with this is not that Frederica Wilson doesn't like being attacked by General Kelly. I get that. Or that there's disagreement over what the president said. Fine. But why did demagogues like Frederica Wilson and the people you just saw on cable television turn this into something it's not, which is a racial dispute? There's nothing racial about this. Why pretend there is?
I don't think it was a racial dispute. What you've done is take a comment she made, I thought was ill-advised, that the empty barrels thing had a racial connotation. Of course, the issue is not Congresswoman Wilson. No, you want to go off on race. That's derivative.
I don't.
The issue is General Kelly, unarguably, has served with distinction from being a Marine to a four-star, suffered a grievous loss of his son, and we can only admire him. And his comments were mesmerizing when he focused on that. First issue is, why do we have a president who now has been shown again to have lied about what he said? Second, it's not only what he said that was untrue, it's what he didn't say. The issue, of course, is 4 deceased Green Berets in battle
you're
in
ignoring
Niger.
my question. As I imagined you would. You're ignoring my question entirely to give your speech about Trump.
Why he's been silent for 12 days than Representative Wilson, who's stellar in her community. A principal, a congresswoman, a state senator.
Will you look? And I'm not attacking her record as a member of Congress.
I know you're not.
I'm merely making the obvious point, which is political debate of the kind you spent your life engaging in, Me Too, grinds to a halt the second you start calling people racist on the basis of no evidence. It's a conversation ender, not a starter. And it's so common now on the left that I think it is destroying any hope of an actual conversation. And she just engaged in it. You saw it. I'm not mischaracterizing her remarks. She was followed up by the demagogues on that other channel, echoing them, expanding them, attacking the guy's family in his neighborhood as if they know anything about it. And I'm just saying this is of a piece of a lot of this kind of behavior we're seeing recently. And you know it.
Well, I've already said I don't think she should have said it. I don't think the president of the United States should have exonerated white racists saying Jews will not replace us down south, as you know he did. So as between the president using, hold it, of course he said that, right?
Them for saying that.
He said both
if
sides
I thought the
were
president of
the
the United
same.
States was okay with that, I mean, that's like disgusting. And I don't agree with that, by the way.
All right, but now let's talk about this.
Let's
talk about this episode. The president, as you know, when he was asked at a photographic session, said, I never said that to the widow, and Representative Wilson is lying, and I have proof. Tucker, that was all false, correct?
Okay.
Yes or no?
No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, to be totally honest with you, I think this debate is stupid, actually. The president, calls this widow and says, look, I'm sorry that your son got killed. Right. I think there's a fair question as to what American troops were doing in Niger in the first place. That's legitimate.
Okay, second
question.
The
guy's trying to offer condolence. Like, what is this about? Talk about a dumb distraction from the actual business of the world.
You know, I don't disagree. If Trump or the White House had said, he tried to be genuine, he was sympathetic, he made the call, he may have misspoken. Of course, the widow and the mother were very upset by what he said. All he had to do was say, I'm sorry if I misspoke, that wasn't in my heart. That would have been fine.
It was the demagogue from Florida who made it into an issue in the first place. Liz, I heard what the president said. It's like, what? Why are you inserting yourself, I would ask Frederica Wilson, Congresswoman Wilson, into this?
It was very funny when Sarah Sanders said it, and General Kelly, it's terrible when a politician makes themselves the center of attention and not the issue. I wonder who would have done that when President Trump, the day after being inaugurated, went to the CIA Wall of Heroes and talked about his crowd size. So let's focus on the president. I know we're on Fox.
If you don't like it in one case, you don't like it in another. Okay. But what I'm saying, what I'm saying is something broader than, look, this president will come and go.
Why didn't he talk about Niger for 4 deaths, 12 days, the same number, of course, as died in Benghazi, and the LA Times today said massive intelligence failure, and they didn't have adequate air cover. I don't know. LA Times
I don't know either,
it.
and I'm willing to believe any of that, but what I find impossible as someone who hosts a daily show is having a rational conversation with anybody when To Kill a Mockingbird is now racist, when the ice cream truck music is now racist, when everything that the left doesn't like is now racist. You can't have a rational conversation anymore. And I wonder why smart people on the left like you don't say something about this.
Okay, you don't want to talk about President Trump. I get it. Let's talk about racists. Was it racist when Donald Trump said President Obama wasn't born here?
No, I don't know. No,
Oh, really?
It's a factual.
Really?
Is it racist? No. Look, I think Obama was born here. I don't care where he was born, to be honest with you. I don't know why that was racist.
Yeah.
But like we all had to sort of say, yeah, that's racist. I mean, I don't know. It seems like a dumb conversation from beginning to
Race
end.
has been put into the conversation from birtherism to Charlottesville to
birtherism. I never even got that. It was like another dumb talking point on both sides, in my opinion. But whatever. Mark Green,
well, I
thank
hope
you for
President Trump cuts it out, and I don't think.
Okay. Howie Carr hosts a radio show in Boston. He writes for the Boston Herald. He's from Boston. He breathes Boston. And when you hear him talk, you know he's fully Boston. Howie Carr, thanks for joining us tonight. You saw your city impugned last night on another channel when a couple of hosts said, look, General Kelly is clearly a bigot because he's from Boston. How did you take that as a native son?
Well, it's outrageous. Lawrence O'Donnell shouldn't have said that. He also said that he and General Kelly come from identical backgrounds. Actually, Lawrence O'Donnell's father was a lawyer, and General Kelly's father was a milkman. And after high school, Lawrence O'Donnell went to Harvard College, and General Kelly went into the U.S. Marine Corps. And we're talking about Boston, the desegregation problems, the rioting and all that. When that all began, Lawrence O'Donnell was writing snide essays in Cambridge at the Harvard Lampoon, and General Kelly was a commuter going to UMass Boston. I mean, they come from very different backgrounds. Lawrence O'Donnell is too.
You must have been confused when you saw Joy Reid, who, by the way, also went to Harvard, another oppressed Harvard graduate, went on to say that it was basically his neighborhood that did it. It was a neighborhood in which women were disrespected, in which men were racist. It seemed to me like she was acting out of the kind of ugliest traditional stereotypes about Irish immigrants. That's what it sounded like to me.
I agree. I mean, does she know what's in General Kelly's heart? Does Lawrence O'Donnell know what's in their heart? Do they know anything about Oak Square, Brighton? He went to St. Mary's High School in Waltham, Massachusetts. He would take the trolley over with two other guys to that high school in the late 1960s. One of the guys that he used to take the trolley with every day is a guy named William Francis Galvin, who is now the Secretary of State of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, a Democrat elected repeatedly statewide. Are Lawrence O'Donnell and Joy Reid saying that Bill Galvin is a racist as well? And this whole thing about the empty barrel, if they listen to the interview that John Kelly gave when he was appointed chief of staff, he said his mother used to call people empty barrels. I mean, like you said, it's not a racial term at all. It goes back to classical Greece and Shakespeare. This whole thing is ridiculous. They have no idea what they're talking about. I mean, Lawrence O'Donnell likes to pose as a tough street kid at moments like this. When Whitey Bulger, the gangster, was arrested a few years back, he went on the show and told this long, involved story about some woman he knew Whitey. We're supposed to think he's some kind of, up by his bootstraps kind of guy, and that's not who he is, but it is who John Kelly is.
Huh. So you don't think that's an accurate self-depiction of Lawrence O'Donnell?
I don't think he's a tough street kid.
Look, I'm from La Jolla. I wouldn't know the difference, but that's why we want to talk to you tonight. Howie Carr, the voice of Boston. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Tucker.